Hello and welcome to this video on 3D shading. Let's get started. As you can see, I'm using the inside of a masking tape roll just to get a nice pronounced circle there. And the first thing we need to do with any shading is decide where the light's coming from. So I've drawn a little arrow to indicate that the light's coming here. And so that top right hand side is what's going to be in light first. I'm going to take a B pencil and start shading from the bottom left. Of course, if the light is in the top right as indicated by the arrow, the shade will be the opposite side of it where the less light is travelling. So I'll just start by gently shading with a B. Remember, we can go darker with other pencils. I found this bit a little tricky, as normally I would turn the book around to help myself, but as we're filming a video, I'll just battle on. What you're looking for from your initial circle is to shade just the left hand side, don't go too high at the top. And I put the darker pencil first, just creating a C shape, I guess, around to the bottom. Take your time when you're doing this. Remember, you can watch this video and pause it or rewind whenever you like. That's the benefit of having these tutorials as a video. So slowly shading. And as I'm coming from the left to the right of the circle, I am easing the pressure, and I will go through a range of pencils as talked about in the first video. Remember, loose hands, free it up. Here we go. This is an 8B now. So I'm defining that left hand part of the circle, because it is still a circle at the moment. And we want to make it lighter as we close in that shape that I formed with that sort of crescent or C shape. Again, I can't stress enough about moving your surface around to help you. This is quite tricky doing it this way with a fixed camera, but still, we'll get there in the end. So I've chosen a lighter pencil now. Here's the C shape being more defined. Something quite relaxing from just watching this, actually. I'll just take your time with that. I'm starting to get a bit high on the top there, actually. And now you can see that circle has started to be more 3D. Remember, the light's coming in this way and over there. There we go. So it's now becoming a ball or a sphere just from a simple bit of shading. It's what the eye's used to in everyday life, I guess. And of course, we need to give it a place, it needs some gravity, and for that we add shading. You need to consider which way the light's coming again, how it would strike the ball and almost get wider behind it. I'm just gently sketching out. Doesn't matter at this stage if you make any mistakes, you could always rub it out. But by putting in a shadow to any object you draw, whether it be a still life or anything, you're giving it some gravity. It exists rather than floating about in the middle of a white page. I'm just redefining that line with a 6B. Again, this is by no means meant to be a masterpiece. It's just highlighting a technique that you could use in your own work. That same dark pencil now, I'm shading it around the sphere. So the closer it is to it, of course, the darker it will be, because as that shadow elongates away from the sphere, you would have more light peering over the top, and therefore your shadow would be lighter. Or at least look lighter. Right, at this point, I went back right down to our humble HB to try and feather in a little bit. Again, look how I'm holding the pencil a long way away. Be loose with it. Be loose with your drawing. I can hardly see it appearing on there. And then take your finger, if you're being brave, and just stroke one way. This is picking up the soft pigment from the B pencils and moving it around. This helps with the blending from almost white right round to the dark side. And there we have it. We are nearly there. Probably a little too shady. There's my finger. Lovely job. Don't go scratching your nose with that. Just taking the rubber. I'm not a fan of a rubber or an eraser, but I'm just using it to clean up a little bit. I normally would take it to the highlighted area. So there we have it. We've got the light coming in one way. The shadow, of course, would come off that as well. Little line there. You want your shadows to come down that way. It's all from that point. If you pick where your light source is going to be right at the beginning, then everything else will follow that. There you go. There's your 3D sphere. Okay, so we've had a sphere. Let's have a go with a square. It's going to be a trickier one. Okay, so we've got our square or cube or cuboid. Now to turn a square into a 3D shape, we will draw some lines off here. And they go something like this. I'm going to draw a small line to there, move this up on the same angle, draw another one, and then we're going to come over here draw another, then we're going to join them up. that's that. We've got our square shape. A little bit over in parts, but still, let's give that a run. That's what these are for. So we've got a bit of a cuboid going on. Again, if we treat the light coming in this way, this area is going to be dark, and this one not so, because it's going to see a little bit of the light. This one is going to be this shade. Again, remember your pencils. You want to start with your HB or an H for one side. This is going to see a little bit of light coming in, whereas this won't see any as much because the light is going to shine across here. So this bit will be in darkness. So what I'm going to do for that first is pick up my 3B. And give that a little shade. I would normally spin my book round to make it easier for myself, as far as the angles are, but as I'm a bit strapped down here, as it were, and confined to the camera, it's a little more difficult. Okay, this is coming at this area, we'll get lots of light. This not so much, this a little bit more than that because it's closer to our light source, if this was our light beaming out. Okay, so we used a 3B on this. We're going to go a little lighter on that. In fact, I think I will go... What should we go for? Just trying to find them. HB, no, 2H, maybe 6H. This is good. So here, 6H for the top. Gently, ever so gently. And of course, to make this stand out a lot more, you could then go over it around the sides, just clean them up a bit. I like a sketchy look to all my work. So very quickly guys, there is a little view of how a cube might look. Remember the light coming in, the area furthest away from the light is going to be in shadow or in shade, and the other parts will be lighter. So give it a try. Start with your square, draw parallel lines out from each corner and then join those up, and that gives you your cube box or cuboid shape. Let's try another. Let's move this up a little bit. Let's go for, what should we try? Well, based on that, let's give a triangle a go. I'm going to go here, down. I'm going to come across. And I'm going to join this up. So we've got a triangle, but to turn that into a pyramid, I'm going to draw this over here, and then I'm going to join those two lines up. So from top to bottom, and we'll see how this turns out. Boom. Okay, let's give that a try. This time, just to shake it up a bit, we're going to have our light source from here. Here's our lovely light or sun. It's shining down on this way. It's coming this way this time. Okay, so we think to ourselves, well, that side of the pyramid is in full light. That's going to be white round there. This is angled away slightly, so it will be a stage darker, as will this. So what I'm going to do is start with a 3H and see what kind of colour that gives us. Very, very lightly, just going to cover it to start with. Remember, this isn't a graphical illustration. This is just to try and explain about light and shade and how you could shade things in. By no means would I go this fast, perhaps, and I would use rulers if it was going to be a piece of art that we were putting in, but still, I like to just get everything down. So here we go. I'm using a 3H in this. And that's giving me my starting colour for this, if you like. Now, the further back we come to here, I think it would be darker. So I'm going to start again. I'm just going to press a little more pressure from about halfway. I don't know if you can see that darkening up now. Right to this point. And of course, if we wanted to go darker, we would simply go to our softer pencils. Okay. This side, would it be bright? Lighter than this? No, because remember, our sunshine is over here and it's shining this way. So this will be in shade. I'm going to go from my 3H, drastically move over to a 4B or a 6B. I guess it's going to be whichever one I find first. Where are we? Ooh, we've got a 3B. Let's see how that compares to the 3H. I'm going to go this way this time. Very dark. Okay. And I'm going to gently, remember, loose hands, loose wrist, and just let it go. Oh, that's satisfying, right? There we go. Again, get yourself set up nicely. I'm kind of all skew here because of the tripod. I would turn the book, turn it round to help you be comfortable when you're doing it. Right, so I've gone all kinds of ways there shading, but it's soft enough that it won't notice if we apply the same pressure. There it is, there's a bit of shading, but the sun's coming here, of course. This object, let's just make it pop a bit. There we go. So there's our object. This shadow would now be cast this way. So let's have a little go. I'm going to gently start with an HB. This is very, very loose, because I think by now you guys would have got the gist. There we are, the shadow would be cast this way, and it would be very dark at that point. And of course getting lighter as the sun can touch over here. I'm going to go in for a 2B or not 2B, and we'll just bring There we go. Okay, you can clean that up if you want, but it is just a little exercise to try and convey what I meant. Okay, so there we have our cuboid and our pyramid. Over page, we did our sphere. Things to remember: where your light source is coming from. Think constantly of the shape. This is a sphere now because we've given it that shading. We have light and dark, and we have our other tones in between, and it's that gradation of tone that gives you that spherical feeling. Okay, there we go. Sphere and a cuboid or a box. And we took a triangle and turned it into a pyramid, didn't we? And with just a little bit of shading, we've got it. What we didn't do, of course, silly me, is shade this. Now in this case, that corner is tilted slightly. So although the sun's coming in like this, it would have clipped that corner. So I'm going to raise the shadow that's cast, which would come to this point here. If this line came down, let's just draw over my lovely picture. If this point here is sticking out further than this one, we would have shade cast not from just this point, but from there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shade from there. I'm going to get my B this time. Sorry, Mr. Sun, we're in the way now. And the closer we are to the object, the darker it's going to be, of course. And I'm lightening my pressure to just try and blend that bit in a little. Then I'm going to move from my B. Come on, let's go for it. What are we going to go for? I'm going to go for a 2B or not 2B. I'm coming that way with that one. Again, I'll lighten the pressure a little bit as I come out. And of course, a good technique, a finger. We rub and smudge, and that gives us quite a nice gradation of shadow. Oh, one other thing, right, since I put these lines in now, to me it looks like a box where this might be open. So this is a good time, again, instead of this being the top, it's now a box with no lid. This section is not seeing much light. This one would see more because it's facing it. I'm going to darken that slightly. There you go, we've got more surfaces on our... You could try this at home, just set up a little light and put it on an object. Move it about a bit. Don't have to have any special technology at all. Just a pencil and a lamp, and if you don't have a lamp, use a window. Okay, don't want to see through there as much now, so I'm going to just shade that in. There we go, so that could be a box. Hopefully this has explained that if the lights come in here, you'll get something like that. Okay, this was shading. Thank you.